Calafitiano just gets it away. There he is at the base of the scrum again. This time going in to actually form part of the ruck. And that's the second row. Sokol, the captain, who's gone to scrum half. In comes Dumitrash. Romania still trying to drive it up. It's very one-dimensional stuff, but they're game.
Yeah, they're game and they're trying, and Dumitrash had a dart down that left-hand side as Simon Webster reminds Dumitrash of what's on the scoreboard, I think. But no, it's been a fractured performance. Having said that, Frank, hadn't we pleased with the nil against? Romania haven't really threatened to score that many tries. They had one passage of play where it was pick and go for a few minutes, but outside that, it's the turnovers and knock-ons he'll be annoyed about.
Yeah, they've certainly not looked like scoring apart from that period forward pressure close to the line. Oh well, Sean Lamont was not the intended recipient of that, and back goes his brother to rescue and save his embarrassment.
Yes, he wasn't meant to be there. Cussiter was passing it out wide. I mean, you know, no need for it really.
Just a couple of minutes to go. It's just a question, I think, really, of whether Scotland have got one more big attack in them and can make it push it up to 7 tries. 6 they've got already. 2 to Rory Lamont, 3 for Alistair Hogg, and 1 for Chris Patterson. Patterson has added 6 conversions, so his haul for the evening, 17 points so far. Patterson at fly half now. Shoots it nicely, brother to brother. Rory to Sean. And Sutton has set it up again. Sean Lamont in very well. It has to, as an advantage for a knock-on. I didn't think the ball was out actually when they first played it, but the referee's happy with it, so it's a line out just inside the Romanian half.
Well, Scotland are well served at half-back. You know, they started off with Blair and Parks, and they're finishing with Cussiter and Patterson, and if you need to chase a game or look to play a more expansive game, that's probably not a bad option in the last 20 minutes or so. Dan Parks is very much the tactical kicker, I think.
Again, not a very convincing line-out, but Scotland have it. Got the deflection, the forwards just trying to get some forward momentum before they release it. Cussiter now to Patterson. Webster. Rory Lamont, his tackler comes back for more, and that time Scotland knocked on. Good work by Ferku. Pushed off once but went straight back for more and managed to free up the ball. And Nigel Owen brings it to a close. One of those situations where it was really petering out. Scotland have won it convincingly, 6 tries to 0. It's Romania 0, Scotland 42. So, Jamie Salmon, the situation, what do you take out of that from Scotland, really? Good that they scored 6 tries, that they didn't get themselves into any trouble with Romania in the same way that Italy did. Italy, after all, just straight past them. It was 24-18, but a very flawed performance nevertheless.
Yes, it was, and the annoying thing from the coaching team's point of view will be that it was basic errors. that not cost them, because obviously the scoreboard says 42-0 and it was very comfortable, but it certainly does not get them into attained a standard that they can aspire to, that they can keep, that they can challenge, with New Zealand and Italy still to face in this group, the two hardest teams in this group. They've not set themselves a bar which they must attain every single time they go out there, so it's an awkward one for them. Romania are a bit of an awkward side, but I just felt they felt a bit short of the standards of a side that wants to qualify for the quarterfinals.
Yes, you can see New Zealand absolutely, they do that every time they play, and ripped apart sides like Romania. I just wonder whether Scotland fell into the trap a little bit of the forwards early on, thinking, well, hang on, we've got the measure of this lot so completely, and trying to do a little bit too much. And that's when it starts to actually get away from you in terms of accuracy. They take liberties because they think there's a little chance to shine. And I think that's the poorest Scottish performance in some ways I've seen in the last couple of months in their build-up to the World Cup.
Yes, I can fully understand where you're coming from, and they weren't anywhere near as sharp as they should be. As I say, if they want to get to the levels that's required.
Let's go and see what the Romanian captain Sorin Sokol has to say at the end of that one.
Oh, Sorin, it's a comprehensive defeat. What's your verdict?
Yeah, we didn't know to take the pressure. It was very hard for us here. We knew it. The people will be here, and it's very disappointing. We try to make better than last time, but we can't.
You were unable to keep control of the possession you had. Far too many unforced errors.
Yeah, we don't respect the technique. What we want to do, we do too much pick and go in the first half, and we then don't have a good position on the kick. But I am sure the coach can explain us what we didn't wrong, but the first thing what we feel on the field was we take the pressure and all the contact.
Thanks very much indeed for talking to us.
Thank you.
Well, interesting. Sorin Sokol, they're referring, I think, back to the last meeting between the two. They lost 48-6, but that was just after they qualified for the World Cup, and they thought they were going to put in a much better performance this time. Errors, look at the errors, 16 in the end for each side. Turnover 7 Scotland, 9 Romania. Possession actually not quite as marked as I would have thought. Let's go and hear what Scottish captain Jason White's got to say.
Well, Jason White, the scoreline is certainly convincing. What's your verdict on Scotland's performance?
Yeah, delighted to win. We knew Romania were going to be tough, and they were. They stuck in really well. A bit disappointed in some of the aspects of our play, but great to win.
Do you feel there were perhaps too many unforced errors?
I think in the first half especially we tried to force the ball out the tackle a bit too much. Should have just held on and maybe gone to ground and clean out for clean ball for the scrum half. But we'll learn. We need to improve for our next game. We look forward to the All Blacks on Sunday.
I was going to say, you don't need me to tell you that it's New Zealand on Sunday. Can you still step up a gear or two?
Yeah, we can. We need to improve. That wasn't good enough to live with the All Blacks. So we'll do our homework. We'll rest up for a couple of days and then look to improve for the weekend.
Jason, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Well, I think that said everything. Jason White, knowing that it really wasn't a great performance, and he wasn't trying to make light of that.
No, indeed not. And I think looking ahead to Sunday in the game against New Zealand, what side does Frank Hatton put out? Bearing in mind the Italian game, I think, comes 6 days after that. So that'll be interesting what thoughts go through the Scottish camp this week.
Yeah, well, there has been a lot of talk, and there seems to be really two schools of thought. I mean, one, it's totally legitimate to actually throw a game in the interest of going forward in the World Cup, and I think the fact that the New Zealand game does come only, 4 days after this one, is a bit tough on them.
It is, some might say, well, they're lucky because they're playing at home in the French World Cup. So they've got 2 games at home. Scotland, they've got a week back in in all their home surroundings as we look at all the tries that were scored in the second half. But I think it's a big issue for Haddon.